So today I am going to show you guys how to do create your own orthographic projection using the blocks. You're going to have to start out by getting a bag of blocks. Make sure that all 12 blocks are inside of that bag because you will be needing to use all the pieces. Now, your directions for this are located on a white sheet that's up in the front of the classroom. Just pick it up. It says the puzzle drawing specifications. I'm going to go over it today, but if you forget anything, then you might want to go back and get another sheet. On here it says your drawing must include all the blocks. So again, you have to have all 12 blocks. Then it says it needs to be drawn to full scale. You will be receiving a piece of graph paper that is 11 by 17, all right, and your drawings have to be on here. Okay, you're going to draw everything to full scale. Well, what's to full scale? That means to exact size. So for every 1 inch that is on a block, you need to have 1 inch on your paper, okay? You're not going to actually use a ruler to trace this because on the graph paper, we have dots on here, and from one dot to the next, it's 1/4 of an inch. So you're going to have to do a little bit of math. Now here's a little suggestion for you. From one dot to the next is 1/4 of an inch. How many spaces, or from dots to dot, will you need to actually be able to create 1 inch? Think about that. Okay, got your answer? Well, you should need 4 spaces. It's not 4 dots because we're going from one space to the next. That's our distance. A lot of kids get confused and say, oh, I need to go over 4 dots. No, that's not it. You need to go over spaces. All right? On here, it tells you that you're not supposed to trace your blocks either. And then it tells you the size of your blocks. Each square block that we have is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So converting that onto our graph paper would mean 6 spaces. Not just 6 dots, 6 spaces. With that being said, all the rest of your measurements are also located on here. Then it tells us that we need to make sure that we align our views. So if you remember, when we have our orthographic views, it's our top view, then our front view, and then our side view. And they're aligned in a 90-degree order. This is the order that they go in. All right? It also tells us on there that I need to have nice straight lines. You can't just, freehand them. You want to use some type of a straight edge. The last thing it tells you before creating the object that you're going to create, it says your front and side views must be at least 3 blocks high somewhere. And you need to have your front and top views must be at least 3 blocks long somewhere. And then our top and side view must be at least 2 blocks wide somewhere. So I went ahead and I took our blocks and I created a part. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a rough draft of that. Okay? I'm going to create a rough draft before I make my final. I don't want to do a final one right away because guess what? You might make mistakes and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a rough draft. I'm going to do it up on the smartboard so you guys can kind of see how you should have your rough draft. And again, rough draft, you don't need straight lines, you don't need anything. You just need to find out what your pattern is going to be. While we discuss this in class, what should we start out with first? We always want to start off with our front view. Front views are in the lower left-hand corner, so right over about in this area. Looking at my front view, I'm going to start from one side. I'm going to say, how many blocks high do I have? 1, 2, 3 blocks high. And again, rough draft. I have 3 blocks high. I notice that down on my bottom, I have my little block here, and that's that one. I'm going to go to my center section right here. I have 2 blocks high. Carry it off to the side, 2 blocks high, and then one of mine has the hidden lines of the hole going through the center. Then my last section right over here, I have 3 blocks high. All right, taking a look at it from my front view, 1, 2, 3 blocks. Yes, these are angled, but it's a 2D view, so then we have them straight. So right there, I have my my front view, okay? Front view. Next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my top view. Well, I need to just take my item and I need to flip it up. So I'm simply going to say that I have 2 blocks wide in 3 sections. My center is going to be here. Now my little arc that I have down here is going to end up looking like a square from up above. So you don't have to worry about, rotating or, putting some type of an arc in there. Nope, from up above it looks just like a square. All right, fix that. Okay, then I can also see that I have my little hole right there, right? And then the rest of my blocks look like squares from up above. Now I'm going to turn it to my right side. When you do this, make sure you turn it to the right side so you can see what you're drawing. And I'm going to extend it off to the side here. Now I know that right here I have 1 too high. I'm going to draw 2 high for my side view. And then I have 3 high next to it. Again, this is a rough draft, so take a look. Is that even? No, it's not really even. Okay, so I'm going to have to, make things adjustable when I make my final drawing. Okay, so from my side view, I'm going to notice that these are angled right here. So I can make my angle come down and come down. Now there's nothing behind them, so I have to erase these lines so I don't get confused when I go to make my final one. I think that there's something behind it. I also will need to make my hidden lines for that block that has a hole going through the center. So hidden lines would be right here. And I need to make hidden lines for my little arc that I have right here on this part here. Right? So taking a look at this, this is what my this is my rough draft. Now that I have everything in order, if you want to ask the teacher or if you want to ask a friend to go ahead and help check it out for you, please do that before you start your final drawing. Once you start your final drawing, I have this up on the board, and I'm just going to do it with a marker and a straight edge because I want you guys to be able to see. When I'm doing this, you always want to do it in pencil in case there are any mistakes. Pencil, 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 so you can erase. All right, I'm going to do it in a marker so you can actually see from the video camera what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to start in my lower left-hand corner, and I like to just make a little mark. Okay, I don't want to go all the way to the edge, but I just like to do that. And now I know I have to go up 3 blocks. So I'm going to start by creating my blocks. So if this is 1.5 inches plus 1.5 inches plus 1.5 inches. Well, 1.5 plus 1.5, hopefully you know your simple math. It should be 3 plus another 1.5 inches, that's 4.5 inches. How many spaces do I need to go if each space is 1/4 inch? Okay, hopefully you're doing some simple math right now. If you said 18 spaces, you are correct. So I'm just simply going from my bottom here, I'm going to measure or count up 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Make my mark there. I know that my block is also 1.5 inches wide, so I'm going to measure over 1.5 inches, which is 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. So now I know I can take my straight edge and I complete my line here. I'm going to complete my line here. And I'm just simply going to work my way around from my rough sketch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Work my way around the rough sketch and draw in all my lines that are necessary. So now this is 3 blocks high, but I need to actually divide my blocks. So I'm just simply going to measure up my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make a line going across. Measure up 6 again. All right. So I have that first section right here. Well, what am I missing? My half circle. When we do this, instead of getting out a compass, what you can do is up in the front of the classroom, there is a box that says templates. There's clear, tiny little plastic discs in there that are the size of our cylinder, and we can just trace those on there, and then you can just use only half of it for the half circle. All right, they're located right up in this bin, up in the front. Inside of this box is where I have the little clear discs. I'm just simply going to put that on here halfway and trace that part to make my mark so it lands at my 3/4 or halfway in between my square. All right. If you have to make a circle for this hole right there, we have green templates, okay, here in class. And on here, if you take a look, there's circles along one side. It's the very top circle is the size for this. So you don't have to worry about getting a compass out. All right. Once you've done your one section, you just simply move on and keep doing all of them. If you use projection lines, you need to make sure that you erase them at the end of your drawing. When they're all done, you should have no projection lines. But what other types of lines do you need to have on there? Well, on your sheet, it tells you you need to have your object lines. Well, that's simple. I was just making mine. Those are our dark, heavy lines. You need to have hidden lines. Those are my dash lines that I have here. You need to have dimension lines. What are dimension lines? The measurements. So once you're done with your drawing, you could say this is going to be 4.5 inches. Create it. From here to here, we also have 4.5 inches. There to there. And you would do that on your final drawing. My drawing is not completed, so I just thought I would show you on the smartboard. All right? So you have all your dimension lines. Then the last thing you want to add on there are your center lines. Where are the center of your circle? Okay, where are the center of your objects? So you would just simply place your center lines on there, like so. Okay. If you have any questions on how to do the drawing, please ask the teacher for help or rewind parts of this video that you're just not understanding.